Welcome to Mental Fitness, the Gateway to Success podcast, providing business owners, leaders, and entrepreneurs with the 3 INs: insights, inspirations, and intentional actions. Delivered through monologues and dialogues, we address topics like leadership, productivity, time management, work-life balance, and challenges like stress, conflict, mental health, and much more. Please do not hold back from suggesting specific topics and guests you would like on this podcast. Greetings and welcome to this second episode in season 2. And I'm sorry, you're going to just have me here today. If you listened to or watched the episode last week, that will explain a little bit. So it has taken me a wee while after coming back from the hospital to get the energy up to be able to do that, which means to get recordings with guests. Hasn't quite happened yet. It is happening in a day or two, and then I got 3 or 4 other guests lined up to do recordings over the next month or so. So there will definitely be guest episodes going forward, and ideally, every second week. So for this week, you're going to have me again. I will make this fairly short today, and what I want to focus on today. I know last week I talked a lot about my mental fitness and how that helped me through that time in the 2 weeks in the intensive care unit at the hospital. But what we haven't, and again, there's been a lot of stories from guests in the last season, probably about 12 guest episodes with people sharing their stories of experiences with mental fitness. What there hasn't been a lot of is more stories around how to actually build your mental fitness. So I have done some episodes around things like meditation, using breathing. I'll share that with you as methods or ways to grow our mental fitness. So what I want to focus on today is simply that, and in particular one specific tool that I have found to be one of the most extraordinary tools ever in the 40 years of learning and growing myself. This only came into my life, it is now coming up 4 years ago. And it really changed things for me. And I want to share that with you. And the good news is it's free. You can go and do this yourself and get as much value out of that as you could pull out of it. So interesting. I haven't done this lately, but I did it last year. I went in and searched physical fitness, like as a Google search, physical fitness. And of course, there is like a zillion results and endless pages and pages and pages of websites of actual gyms you can go to. And I didn't search gym, I just searched physical fitness, and all these gym places come up. Then I searched mental fitness, and the opposite happened. For a start, the number of results were staggeringly low, relatively speaking. But there wasn't a list of mental fitness gyms to go to. It was a list of websites talking about mental fitness. So the question then is, where do you go to grow your mental fitness? Where are the gyms that you can go to for your mental fitness? And there is a very specific gym that I will share with you that is actually called the gym, or PQ gym, they call it. And in that are some examples of ways that you can use on a daily basis to grow your mental fitness. So let me go straight to it. So this is called, we call it PQ for short, but PQ stands for Positive Intelligence. And you can go to their website, positiveintelligence.com, and you can read there's a massive amount of research. If you're into this, you can get Shirzad's book, Positive Intelligence book. That is his whole research and background into when he created what we now call PQ, or the Positive Intelligence Program. And that program is about mental fitness. So I wanted to create kind of an app back in time for things like that. And the fantastic news for me is that he has now created that probably about 4 to 5 years ago. I think it was just around the time when COVID came in, and being a master coach himself with the COVID and that just pivoted to creating this online tool. And for all the clients I've worked with over the last 3.5 years, most of them have actually been using this just as a part of my program. And all of them have said the same thing. Just having it on your device right there with a reminder in the morning to do your gym exercises to grow your mental fitness. And then during the day, it's a very, very powerful tool for that. And the way I came across it was a colleague of mine said, "Oh, go and do this. They call this saboteur assessment." So it takes 4.5 to 5 minutes to do. It's absolutely free, and I'll point you to that at the end of this podcast today. So I went and did that, and I was absolutely blown away. So they call this saboteurs, and they're kind of we can divide things up in our mind in however many ways we like. What they have done is they have divided it into like nine specific saboteurs, nine specific ways that we human beings sabotage our own well-being. And that's not our physical well-being only, it's also our mental well-being, our emotional well-being. And for me, all of that I just had under one umbrella, and I had a name for that. So to actually get nine different labels with again a list of how strong each of them were, with the top ones, my top saboteurs at the top, the ones that are causing the most havoc in my life, was like wow. It just showed to me again how accurate the test was because they were spot on with what my saboteurs were. And immediately doing that, and we were away on, I think, on a skiing holiday, and I looked at my wife and said, "Hey, could you go and do this test? It's really cool." And she got sure. So she did the test, and then we cracked up laughing because her top saboteur compared to my saboteur, almost like completely opposite. And we are completely opposite in almost every possible way, which has its own charm and its own challenges. Uh, and it's not that we didn't know we had these saboteurs or these things, interfering in our lives. And of course, we knew each other's saboteurs, even though we didn't have the language saboteurs. But when we saw those names, it was just such a laugh because it was so obvious. But beyond that, the value in that was that now we could actually support each other with helping us dealing with our own saboteurs and helping the other person dealing with their saboteur because we had a label or a name we could put to it, which just made it more easy to talk about rather than just, oh, there's this ego or this kind of part of my mind that is causing all this havoc in my life. We have some more specific names on it, which was really useful. I then also found that because our daughter was with us, and I said, "Oh, do this test, will you?" And she said, "Sure." Sitting back in the car and doing it, and then she just went, "Wow, this is unreal. How does it know this?" So again, it had just spotted hers just from answering a few questions for less than 5 minutes. And with me doing, my wife and my daughter doing it, that again showed me that this is good stuff. This is powerful stuff. I really am going to use this in my practice as a coach. So I did for probably close to a year. I was just sending people to go and do the free test, and and they all went, "Wow, yeah, this is amazing. This is spot on." And it comes with a little bit of a write-up about each of these saboteurs that you have and where they likely came from and some point into how you can start working with them and getting beyond that. And that is the mental fitness aspect. Because it's not that we can get rid of these saboteurs. They're so deeply ingrained in us. And it's highly unlikely that you can just go and go, okay, I'm going to throw that one out the window and be free of that, because that will kind of make you an enlightened being, probably. So it seems that we can't just do that. But what we can do is grow our mental fitness, which is what is needed when these saboteurs show up to get in the way of our progress, of our happiness, of our fulfillment. We can then recognize it and go, ah, hello, now bugger off, or whatever language serves you. Off you go. I don't need you in my life right now because I actually got stuff to do that brings me the fulfillment that I want in my life. And I don't want you coming in here and making me procrastinate on these things, or coming in and using your saboteur skills to make life more difficult for me, and creating stress and anxiety and worry and all that sort of stuff. So whenever there is any level of unhappiness in our lives, mentally and emotionally, there is always a saboteur at play. At worst, there's two or three or four saboteurs playing together, which they do, trust me. And when two or three saboteurs work together in partnership, they become staggeringly powerful. So the mental fitness part of working with PQ is to grow that, so that you, one, recognize the saboteurs quicker and you move yourself out of it quicker. So then after about a year, about under a year, I got an email from Positive Intelligence. Hey, we are doing coach trainings, and you can come on board, and you can, for just paying the cost of the actual PQ program, we will give you the experience of going through the program yourself. So you experience doing it yourself, but we will coach you for an entire year at no extra cost. And I was like, wow, that sounds like a good deal. I'm up for that. So I signed up for that, and then trained with them for a whole year in how to more deeply understand what's behind this work. And in that process, probably one of the most important parts of it, but definitely for me, was then going through it myself, the 6.5 week program that comes with the app, and then carry on working with that. So I intensively worked with this for another 3 years, and again used it with all my clients as just as a tool in amongst the other tools that I use, because it fits in so beautifully. And in that, I really got an in-depth 3 year experience of working with this and the power of it. And I still use it today in very different ways. I don't need to go onto the app and do that any longer. But it is now so ingrained in my life and in my mind that it's just happening automatically on a daily basis, because it has grown my mental fitness, allowing me to deal with things like being in hospital over Christmas in a far more positive way. So essentially, the app is just like an app on your phone, and there is a daily focus, where in the morning, like there's a reminder, oh, just listen to this daily focus, it's just a couple of minutes, get some good pointers to focus your mind for the day, and then a couple of reminders later in the day, hey, how are your mental muscle? So it's keeping track of your mental fitness muscle based on the exercises you're doing, what you're listening to, and the sessions that you're doing in the mental fitness gym. So here it says PQ Gym, which is a mental fitness gym. If I click on that, I will have here 6 different gym exercise, going to the gym for your different equipment. So there's 6 different equipments, and each of them come in a 2 minute, 5 minute, and a 12 minute version. Just click on that, you listen to that, and that helps you coming more into the present moment for yourself, and just releasing a bit of tension and refocusing the mind. So when you go back to the next task, whether at work or at home or anywhere you are now more focused, you're more alert, you're more clear. And that is exactly what comes with mental fitness. So then the next challenge that comes your way, you are more likely to be able to deal with that challenge in a positive way. So mental fitness doesn't mean you won't have challenges. Trust me, you're gonna have plenty of challenges for the rest of your life. That's not the question. The question is, how well are you dealing with those challenges? And that essentially comes down to your mental fitness. And this is just one tool, but it's the best tool I have found to date, because it is specifically geared towards growing the mental fitness, just like going to the gym, doing it daily for a few. It's not like half an hour. It's just a few minutes, but every day. Very, very powerful. So my invitation to you is first of all to go and do that test. You can go on to their website and do the test. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. What I'm going to invite you to do is to email me or message me or comment, and I will send you a link to go and do the test. And of course, that link is attached to me. The benefit of that is that it will allow me to give you a couple of quick pointers or ask you a few questions that can support you in dealing with your specific saboteurs that are at the top one, two, or three on your list. And it will allow us just to have maybe a bit back and forth, a couple of emails to support you. And of course that there's no charge for that. It's just my gift to you. So that's the advantage of doing it that way. The other advantage is that for people doing that, I am also offering what we call a saboteur discovery session, which is a 40 to 45-minute free coaching session. And that is specifically working with your saboteur, supporting you in more deeply understand the roles that they're playing and how they're playing the games they're playing, and then what you need to do to get more into the driver's seat of your life. Because when we are not stepping consciously into the driver's seat, a lot of that time, the saboteurs are stepping into the driver's seat of our lives and taking us for a ride. And that is never in the direction that you truly want to go yourself. To truly go where you want to go, you have got to be in the driver's seat. And the saboteurs are canny bastards. They are exceptionally good at stepping into the driver's seat. And they never, ever tell us that they're stepping into the driver's seat. They just sneak into the driver's seat, gently push us over to the passenger seat, and then just start driving where they want to go. And then suddenly we go, holy crap, why am I going down this path? Why am I feeling the way I'm feeling? Why am I not getting the results that I want? And that is because you have been relocated by the saboteurs into the passenger seat. You're still in your life, you're still in the vehicle, but you're no longer driving it. So that discovery session will help you with a few pointers on how can you get more into that. And then if you want to carry on beyond that and go in and actually do the 6 week program in the app, you're free to do that, and you can do that completely on your own and pay for it through Positive Intelligence, or you can do it through me, and I can give you some really, really powerful support along the way to get the absolute utmost value out of that process. So, with all that, my key invitation for you today, just go and do the test and get that clarity. I will put my email in the show notes for this podcast. So just email me and say, yes, please, saboteur test. And I will email you the link to that, and we will take it from there. Um, so yeah. I think that's it for today. I could keep talking, of course, but I think I would rather that you just go and do that test and get some clarity, get some learning for yourself. And even if you don't do it through me with a link, still feel free to email me or contact me with what your saboteurs are. I love to hear. I find it fascinating how different people in the combination of those nine and how incredible they are at interfering with our lives and our happiness. So with that, please go and do the test and or email me and I'll send a link to you. And then I hope to have a conversation with you somewhere down the track to support you further with that. So with that, thank you for today. And next week we should have a guest episode coming out with, from what I have booked in, would be an extraordinary human being who has been through stuff that not even 1 or 0.01% of people have been through and is still smiling and is still doing what he loves doing despite unbelievable experience that he has recently been through. So I hope that all goes well and we get that recorded, and that should be the one for next week. So see you next week. Have a great week. Thank you for tuning in to this episode of Mental Fitness, the Gateway to Success. If you have stories of how mental fitness has benefited you that you are happy to share, go to my website, mikal.nz, click on podcast and fill in the guest application form. If you want direct support from me utilizing my 40 years of mental fitness learning and practice, email me at coach@mikal.nz or message me on LinkedIn. Any feedback, review, share, follow, like, or any other good stuff is, of course, appreciated. Thank you for listening to Mental Fitness, the Gateway to Success podcast. I'm your host, Mikal Nielsen.